and around we go. It's Nug Life Radio, Nug Knows with Benji.
Cannabis advocate Shona Banda from Garden City, Kansas is suing the state and some of the agencies involved in the questioning and removal of her 11-year-old son from her home. Banda's son was taken in March of 2015 after he spoke up at school about her marijuana use during a drug education program. Banda suffers from Crohn's disease and uses cannabis to treat her symptoms, which can include inflammation of the digestive tract, abdominal pain, severe diarrhea, fatigue, weight loss, and malnutrition. Spokesperson for the Kansas Department of Children, Teresa Freed, said that the court has final say regarding the placement of children. Marijuana is an illegal substance in the state of Kansas and can have both direct and indirect detrimental consequences on families. Banda, who is acting as her own attorney, is seeking unspecified damages and insists that she educated her son about cannabis and taught him that it is a medication and never allowed him to use it. Sean is also facing marijuana charges in Finney County, and the status of that case is still pending.
You know, the one thing that I always learned through one of my ex-wives, the attorney, as we'll call her, is that any person that has themselves, what do they say, any convict that has an attorney for a client, any attorney has a, if you represent yourself, you're a dumbass. So take
anybody who represents himself has an idiot for a client.
I couldn't. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. But it's true. I mean, especially a case where they're talking about taking your children away from you, and you are going to have the audacity to try to represent yourself. Is either A, you don't have money, unfortunately, and the public defender, it sounds like, is not doing them any justice. But you should educate your kids on cannabis, and if she had done it properly before, then she wouldn't be in the issues she's got. You got to teach them the difference between private and secret. My medical records are private. Me smoking in the garage with the ho-hos is the secret.
Right.
It's an Entenmann's treat.
Don't even bring it up. You know, even if you're asked, be like, I don't know.
My kid's smart. My kid, I was like, he's wearing a Dare shirt, and he goes, Dad, drugs are really expensive. I'm like, right. He's a teenager, so it's cute.
That's not an untrue statement.
Funny, my older boys are just now figuring it out.
Are they catching on?
Well, like we were at the park the other day, and oh yeah, the older one goes, "Hey, they're smoking marijuana over there," and I was like, "Where? Like what?" And he's like, "Don't you smell that?" And I didn't smell it. He smelled something else.
You're like, "Let me go over and check this out."
That's not marijuana. You smell marijuana is what it smells like when I come out of the garage, or when me and Mom or whatever.
So what are they smelling? And way to rat out Mom too.
Like, so you guys do drugs? And I'm like, no, haven't you heard that it's medicine? And like, he's like, oh, okay, so it's medicine. So I had to have the whole big talk with him.
What were they smoking in the park that they thought was marijuana?
I don't know.
It's probably a skunk.
It was like sagebrush.
Right. Marijuana isn't smoked out of a light bulb next to a dumpster, son.
Doesn't smell like
something
chemically.
When you have your children involved, it's very important. If you are going to disclose your medical information to your children, then please educate them to use that information responsibly, or you're going to end up in trouble with the law. It's a fact.
Yeah.
So they raided this lady's house just based on what the kids said at school?
They do it all the time. What they do is DARE comes into your schools, and they sit the kids down, and they show them this big box. It's a glass shadow box.
Is that seriously still happening? DARE?
Yeah, remember the shadow box?
Doing that?
Well, they took cannabis is now off the DARE list as of recent. But prior, it was like one joint. It looked like some powder and a razor blade and whatever. And they go, do you know this? And the little kid would go, my dad smokes that one, and that one. And, and then they would come to your house and raid you, and it would use it as court evidence.
So underhanded.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like stuff out of 1984 on it.
Right.
Getting the kids to snitch on their parents.
Yeah.
It reminds me of stuff that went on in 1937 Germany.
Oh, well, there you go.
Because you were there.
Very related.
Sicily, 1933. Picture it. It's funny if you know Golden Girls. There's no second joke to that.
You think Hitler smoked pot?
No, he was a meth head.
Yeah, I think the Holocaust is proof that he didn't
meth
smoke
people
pot.
Don't smoke. They smoke and they go, I don't get it. And they smoke more meth.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what the name of the drug was, but yeah, it was something meth based.
Really?
He was actually a meth user.
Of course. I mean, come on now.
You ever seen him
Watch
speak? Yeah.
Nobody gets that angry normally.
I want to see his teeth. What else you got in the news, brother?
Okay, and bear with me on this.
Oh, okay.
Bear with me on this one, okay? The results of a new study involving cannabidiol and its effects on depression are being published in the April issue of the journal Neuropharmacology. They report that cannabidiol, the main psychomimetic compound in marijuana, exhibits anxiolytic-like properties in many behavioral tests, although its potential for treating major depression has been poorly explored. Moreover, the mechanism of action of CBD remains unclear. Herein, we have evaluated the effects of CBD following acute and chronic administration in the olfactory bulbectomy mouse model of depression and have investigated the mechanism, meaning that the effects of cannabis on anxiety haven't been studied very much yet, so they put some CBD into some mice to see what would happen. And using microdialysis, the researchers found that administration of the CBD significantly enhanced serotonin and glutamate levels. And the study concluded that their findings indicate that CBD could represent a novel, fast antidepressant drug.
How do you target depressed mice? Where do you find that? Nobody, every mouse I've ever seen is just happier than can be. They're running in their loop. There's not a care in the world.
They give them cheese, and then they're like, hey, man, we're running out of cheese.
It's a struggle. We're going to need you to work a little harder around here.
They talk to them about the economy.
So they get depressed mice.
Yeah, they somehow get them depressed. I would imagine it's some sort of chemical-based or something.
Yeah, reduce their pay because the economy's bad.
That's what it is.
I mean, they've been experimenting with mice forever, and so they know how to manipulate their emotions. And
1,400 jokes about how to manipulate mice.
So
I'm like, I promised them a promotion for a couple years in a bigger cage, and then just said, that new mouse that we just brought in, we're going to give it to him.
And he comes from India.
Yeah, it's a little Indian mouse.
But this could be actually really big, because what's the go-to for depressed people in this country?
Cheese?
Antidepressants?
Opioids.
Yeah. Right. They give you antidepressants.
And as we well know, those can be very deadly. So if there's something like cannabidiol, which is, I mean, I don't know anybody who's allergic to that or has any adverse reactions to it.
And they're lying if they say they are.
Yeah. So if something like this can be used instead of those opioids,
did you just give me a look to exemplify the punchline? Because it's radio. You have to say it. He was like, And I was like, I get it now.
Visual clues.
Yeah, I was there with you.
If you people at home would have seen the face that he made.
Right. You would have been like, okay, we are being serious right now.
Education.
It is the news.
That's good.
Educated.
I wish they wouldn't. That's something that they should just go right to human trial testing. You know? Why waste the time testing mice and chimps and dogs?
Who cares what it does to
I'll
mice?
volunteer for the...
I feel like the animals deserve it at this time. Like, they've gone through a lot of bad testing, makeup and hairspray and stuff. And now it's like, hey, guys, you held out. You've been in the program for this many years. This year we're doing weed. It's a little celebration.
And all the
animals
mice
are like, woo! Someone comes in to save them, then they're depressed. Pete is here. Just kidding.
Then they cure them of their depression with CBDs.
How can you tell if
they
it's cured?
euthanize them?
How do you know if it's
They put them in a bag and throw them out back.
Feed them to the
They
snakes.
take them apart.
Yeah, my wife used to work at the Salk Institute she worked with mice, and she would say how they had to break their necks on this one little quick jerk. Like she used to do that.
Mice don't have a long.
Okay, well then we saved that one. He's healthy now.
So you sleep really comfortably next door, eh?
Oh no, with one eye open.
That's so mean.
He's stroking your head.
Because you feel like they're cured, they're going to set them free, but you never ask, what happens to the monkeys after they done learn how to fly
They
the
go
airplane.
into a bag and they freeze them, and then they feed them to snakes. They sell them to pet stores.
Nuked out mice or what?
Yeah, man.
It's food.
So be careful what you're feeding your snakes out there.
There might be drugs in them.
Circle of life, bro. My snake, he was depressed, but now he's feeling so much better now.
I don't know if it's a CBD mice. I mean, the snake's going to feel pretty good after that, right?
That's how you medicate snakes. You just onto something. I've seen CBD dog biscuits. Why not have CBD mice? And now we can medicate depressed reptiles.
Depressed
Reptile
snakes.
comfort food. We're solving no problems.
Just get a
today, but we're having
syringe.
A lot of fun.
You just
Get a syringe. We're gonna put the mice in a blender, right? We liquefy them, and then you could feed the baby snakes with an eye dropper.
No, it has to be alive. The snake won't go.
All right, we have PETA on line 2.
Yeah, this is far from cannabis
Caller, go
education. What else you got, Benji?
Well, an Easter egg hunt in the town of Salmon Creek, Washington was interrupted on Saturday by a man screaming that his roommates were about to shoot him. Police were called to the scene and quickly discovered that the disturbance was related to an an unlicensed marijuana distribution operation being run out of a nearby house, which they suspected may be linked to international drug trafficking. Upon the search of the house, police confiscated over 45 pounds of marijuana, which they assigned an estimated value of $200,000. Of course, and they also seized more than $108,000 in cash. A 24-year-old Charles Yokovich was arrested and charged with possession of a controlled substance with intent to deliver, and his roommates, 24-year-old Joseph Sullivan and 27-year-old Jordan Long, were booked for outstanding felony drug warrants in Missouri.
We did a marijuana Easter egg hunt in Modesto at the comedy show that we did. That's my Easter song. And then the cops come in and kick the windows.
So they weren't hunting for Easter eggs. They were hunting for, like, Jägermeister or something, right?
Well, no, there was bud in the Easter. So in each Easter egg was like they had a giant egg with a bottle of Jaeger in it. And none of this was legal. This was the weirdest show I've ever done. I don't mind saying. They had a raffle where they're like, we're raffling off Ganjarilla, well, whatever. I just said it. Ganjarilla blunts, and it's like a blunt with weed in it. I'm like, what do you mean you're raffling off? This is not a 215 event. We're at a bar in Modesto.
Yeah, but we're just going to do it to the
Right. So they're charging. I was like, that's an old school drug deal. You want me to give you $7 and then you might not come back with weed for me? I was like, that's not a raffle, bro. So they do that raffle, and then they do an Easter egg hunt where they're hiding bottles of Jaeger and Bud inside Easter eggs around the bar. It was great. Wow. In fact, you know who won the raffle? Big pregnant chick. She was like 8.5 months pregnant. Did you see her sitting in the...
I think I might have.
She won the weed raffle.
And the Jaeger?
I don't know if she got the Jaeger. I think that went to the kids.
I get the feeling she probably had her own Jaeger anyway.
She had purse alcohol. She was coincidentally in the felon group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
You know who I'm talking about,
Yes, I
right?
do.
There was only one or two giant pregnant women in this bar past 10 o'clock at night.
Or presumably so.
Modesto. So Easter eggs are Easter egg hunt interrupted by major marijuana bust.
Yeah, so that's... I mean, all over the country, there was other places where parents were misbehaving.
Yeah, they were saying that they were kids were getting knocked out so that they can fend for their kids. So, like, if you cornered an egg and put it in between your legs because you have a 2-year-old, go and pick up the egg, you know, there were other parents knocking them over and jacking that egg from the kid. Kids were walking away crying with broken baskets.
Like it's Black Friday or something?
That's exactly what they compared it to. It was Black Friday for Easter eggs.
And I even saw something on the internet. It was someone's house. They had scattered Easter eggs in their yard for their kid. I think he had Down syndrome, and it showed this couple they pulled up, just gang stuff, had their kids come and take stuff, and they were just robbed them out in front of their house.
No, because that's somebody else's Easter tradition. If you got your kids with you, that's something. All right, kids, get in the car. We're going Easter egg hunting. That's drive 4 blocks, you know, and then you get out of the car because someone else is doing it. You're like, there's some eggs, and you open the back door. The kids go out, they raid the house, and then leave. And if you don't wake anybody up, you win.
Like a grab and go. Just go, kids, go.
Yeah, and go house to house. I mean, you really got to love hard.
Got to make sure that someone has Down syndrome inside the house or some kind of mental disability.
That's the kicker right there. But I mean, hey, I understand the mentality of the other family who's running their poor kids around. Because I mean, you don't have an Easter at home.
There's
if
so
you're
many
in
free
your car.
Easter egg hunts around the city.
Free Easter egg
there
hunts.
is.
Well, that's the thing. If they would have pulled up and said, "Hey, you know, we can't afford to do an Easter hunt for our kids. Can we let them join in on yours?" At least then they'd have an opportunity to say
no, because
yes
then what?
or no.
You got a lawsuit when your bad kids beat the hell out of their nice kids, and because they can't go out anywhere and they're used to stealing. What is everybody looking for out there?
Something happened? Everybody's looking over there.
Everybody just gandered over to the left. This is Nug Life Radio. That is the news.
That's the news.
The Nug News with Benji Cooper. Check that out at Nug News on Instagram. Just started up, so don't be weary that it's only got a few followers. We are building it up. We just started that. So we're going to be back. I was as defensive as it can get. We'll be back after these messages. 760-798-3127 Nug Life Radio.
Yo, Trey, True, and Petrifine. G-N-D. What the people want.